Welcome back to this week's conclusion of the NFC North. This is 8 Divisions in 8 Weeks on the Talking Sunday podcast, the 2020 NFL preview show. But first, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Talking Sunday handle. Oh, you know it. This pile of junk's just been sitting in this junkyard for years waiting to be transformed into a magical ride. So jump on in and let's see if this chitty can bang its way to a title division. Last year, the Lions actually looked like a formidable team until Stafford's season ended with broken bones in his back sustained in Week 9. They actually started the year going 2-1-1 with wins against the Eagles, the Chargers, a loss to the Chiefs, and a tie in Week 1 to the Cardinals. If not for two very questionable illegal hands to the face penalties, where replays showed nothing but shoulder contact, the Lions should have beat the Packers in Week 6 after their bye, which would have improved their record to 3-1-1. Beating the Packers in Lambeau on primetime would have instilled much more confidence into this team, but instead deflated and defeated, the season just went into a tumultuous tailspin. Stafford ranked out as the 7th best quarterback, throwing for 19 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions, and he was having a good season before going down with the back injury. With no backup plan, he was replaced by Jeff Driscoll, who ranked out worse than Mason Rudolph, and eventually David Blau, who ranked out worse than Eli Manning. With a healthy Stafford, the Lions' offense should be able to compete with the best of them, but the defense was just flat out terrible. The defense ranked only 26th overall, being last against the pass. They also had trouble creating turnovers and were the 5th worst team when it came to missed tackles. With a defensive-minded coach, this should be very concerning for all Lions fans. As Matt Patricia enters his 3rd year, a lot of changes would need to be made if he plans on keeping his job past the 2020 season. Patricia and the front office started shaking up the defense with the release of aging defensive tackle Snacks Harrison, Devon Kennard, and Rashawn Melvin. After having his worst season since his rookie year in 2013, star cornerback Darius Slay was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a 3rd and 5th round pick in the 2020 draft. Patricia decided to go back to his roots and got right to work by bringing in familiar faces. Defensive tackle Danny Shelton, linebacker Jamie Collins, and safety Deron Harmon have all played at one point under Patricia's defensive scheme in New England. They also signed longtime starter Desmond Trufant from the Falcons, who should start at one of the corner positions in Week 1. On the offensive side of the ball, longtime starting right tackle Rick Wagner was let go and replaced by Big V, who has actually had a pretty solid career with the Philadelphia Eagles. They also brought in Geronimo Allison for depth at the wide receiver position, and quarterback Chase Daniel, who should be a more reliable option compared to what they had last year if Stafford were to go down again. Could the Lions continue to put together their solid offseason through the draft? Since Detroit finished with a terrible 3-12-1 record, they were sitting pretty with the number 3 overall pick and shockingly had a stellar draft. With Joe Burrow and Chase Young going 1 and 2, the Lions selected cornerback Jeff Okudah out of Ohio State. Okudah was the top prospect and ranked out as college football's 25th best corner last season. He should be able to slide right into the void left by Slay to pair nicely with newly acquired Trufant. Okudah comps out to Aqib Talib with ideal size and length and should be able to play any coverage the Lions ask. The Lions continued to dominate the draft with their next selection in running back DeAndre Swift from Georgia. Swift was also the top prospect at his position after going for over 1,400 all-purpose yards and 8 touchdowns. With trends heading toward more receiving type backs, Swift is the best in his class as he caught passes from the backfield, slot, and wideout with the Georgia Bulldogs. The Lions also added a much-needed pass rusher with the selection of Julian Okora from Notre Dame, and continued to make the offensive line better with the selection of guard Jonah Jackson from Ohio State. Both Okora and Jackson were thought to be either first or second round talent in some circles, so the Lions nabbing each of these prospects early in the third round could end up being huge steals. With an A-plus free agency and stellar draft, the Lions are definitely ready to make their statement in the NFC North. Even though the Lions finished as a bottom 3 team last season, don't let that sway you from the big picture. The offense is completely loaded with talent. The offensive line was one of the better ones in the league, coming in as the 11th best unit. And with the addition of Big V and Jonah Jackson, it should only get better. As long as Stafford can stay healthy, he should be able to dish it all over the place to this super talented receiving core as Kenny Golladay continues to blossom into a star entering his 4th season. And now, with the addition of Swift in the backfield, there's tons of room for this team to get creative. The key to the Lions' success will obviously be the defense. They'll need to come up from the cellar and overhauling the defense with former New England Patricia players, matched with a really good draft. We should see this defense start to come to life. Here is the interesting thing to keep in mind. 8 out of the last 10 years, there has been at least one team that has gone from last to first within their division the following year. 4 of those 4 years, there's actually been 2 teams that have rose to the top. The NFC North is cracking behind the scenes and no one is seeing it, and this could be the perfect time for Detroit to take advantage. With the Vikings being thin and losing a ton of key contributors, the Packers having a real schedule with an inevitable Rodgers-LaFleur meltdown on deck, I see this as a tremendous opportunity for Detroit to have one of those magical years. What about who? Bears. Those guys are still trying? With the pressure mounting on third-year head coach Matt Patricia, he'll have to perform and generate a winning team, or else this will for sure be his last. These Lions have just been an old rusty car wasting away in a junkyard. And being from the Motor City themselves, with a little fine-tuning and polish, we might just see this car transform into one magical ride.
Chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang. Oh, you pretty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, we love you. And in chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, what we'll do near, far, in a motor car. Oh, what a happy time we'll spend. Bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, our fine four-fendered friend. Bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, our fine four-fendered friend. You're sleek as a thoroughbred.
Your seats are a feather bed.
You'll turn everybody's head today. We'll glide on our motor trip
With pride in our ownership,
the envy of all we survey. Oh, chitty, pretty, chitty, bang, bang, chitty, bang, bang, we love you. And chitty, pretty, chitty, bang, bang, chitty, bang, bang, what we'll do. Live chitty, far, chitty, in a motor car, oh, what a happy time we'll spend. Bang, bang, chitty, bang, bang, our fine four-fendered friend. Bang, bang, chitty, bang, bang, our fine four-fendered. Chitty, bang, bang, chitty, bang, bang, fine four-fendered, chitty, friend.